Hello one and all. We are in Mount Joy, Pennsylvania today, and we are going to be exploring Little Chickies Creek right over here. There's a park right up that way, which we're going to go to in just a few moments. We're going to start off this episode taking a quick look at this wall here and that over there, because I saw it on maps and I couldn't help but wonder what it is. Luckily we have this beautiful sign here. It's going to tell us all about it. This stone wall was part of Hackman's Rapo Stream Distillery and Chopping Mill, which appeared on an 1858 map by J.R. Hoffer. We are basically standing right here. So there used to be a distillery and a chopping mill here. It says Castoria on the roof there, and there was a barn up here, right? So this wall, I guess it used to be this wall here. And this is what it looked like before they restored it. It's all overgrown, degraded. This is that. $25,000 worth of free labor was donated by the local community to restore this wall. I guess as a way to preserve some history, although the main structure is definitely gone. So here's the creek right here. Water's flowing that way. The park we're gonna go to is right up here. But you can see way back in 22, this was all farmland here. Let's go just take a peek at it real quick. I'm thinking it was probably some kind of root cellar or cold storage space. I mean, that's what it looks like. If they wouldn't have restored it, it probably just would have collapsed eventually. Looks like they did a great job of redoing this wall. Right here you can see they have embedded into the mortar here what looks to be pieces of old dishes and pottery maybe. I bet you they found this stuff while they were doing the restoration and they decided to incorporate it into the wall. See that blue there? That's like a dish of some kind. And there's also these shells. Sorry for the traffic noise. We're right next to the main strip here. Can't get in. Ah. Here we have a little outcrop. We are on limestone. Quartzite. Let's take a quick peek at the creek down here. Looks like they're redoing the banks here. Putting in those V-shaped stone breakwaters. I don't know what you would call those. I think they're doing work all up and down this portion of the creek. Let's head up to the park now. And here we are at Little Chickies Park, part of the Mount Joy Borough Park System. I've been here probably 2 or 3 times over the years. And a couple times I came here, I noticed there were all these people over here with cameras staring up at a tree, and that's because there is a spot over here by the creek where there's a horned owl nest, I guess, or a tree that has a hole in it that is used every year on an ongoing basis, I think for like at least 50 years, by the horned owl, and photographers come from all over to come here and get pictures of that. So if you come here and you see people standing over there looking at a tree, that's what's going on. And this park is basically like a big peninsula around which flows the creek. There is something over there I want to check on, but I figured what we'll do is we'll just go down to creek level right here and we'll just walk the whole way around. There goes a dump truck with a load of sand. Now it's been a year or two since I've been up here. Some of this stuff I may not be getting right. This looks new though, this platform right here. And I remember there being a lot more vegetation and trees over on that side. All this stuff here and all this over there, this is all new. Let's head up here real quick and just check out this outcrop. Looks like they do stock this creek with trout. The one thing I do want to check on today is over that way, a little bit down, there's water coming out of the stream bank. And I'm wondering if it's a spring. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna measure the temperature of the water coming out and see what it is. If it's 50 degrees, 51 degrees, there's a good chance it might be actually coming up out of conduits from underground. If it's warmer than that, I'm thinking maybe some of this water here at some point is getting pirated off of this channel, and it's flowing underneath the park and then just popping out on the other side. If that's the case, the water is not going to be 50, 51. It'll probably be maybe a couple degrees colder than the creek water is right here. So first thing we have to do is just figure out the temperature right here, which I can't do because I left the thermometer back in the car. So why don't we go back and get it, and we'll come back right over here. I think there is some kind of land use discussion going on here. If you know more about it, leave in the comments. My understanding is the township wants to build an apartment complex right here, because this chunk of land here is part of the park, and some people don't want that to happen. I think that's going on right now. Can we get across here? Yes, it looks like we can. Let's see if we can follow the base of this outcrop over to where we first initially came down. We'll take the Temp right here. Bug just flew into my mouth. What is going on over there? Lots of big machinery coming and going here. Let's just use this pool thermometer to figure out what temperature the stream is. What do you guys think? 55, 60? I think that's a dump truck. Low 60s right now. Let's give it a little bit longer. It's about 62. You can see the color of the limestone right there. Like I said before, one thing that I guess could be happening is that up in this area of the creek here, water could be siphoned off through little conduits like that one right there, traveling underneath the park and then just discharging on the other side. And if that is the case, it might be that the water coming out of the stream bank over there is the same temperature as this, or maybe a little bit less. And here's another little conduit right here. And there's another one down here that we're gonna go visit after this. The only problem I see with that theory is that there's really no difference in elevation between here and on the other side of the big bend. That would kind of make you think that there wouldn't really be enough of a difference to initiate any kind of drainage across that, but who knows? I think just getting the water temperature might help clear it up a little bit. Let's head down to this next outcrop down here. I think this is it right here. Yeah, right there, you see that? Goes back about 10 feet, it's very small, but that could be where water is infiltrating. We got this tree coming down in here, it looks kind of mucky there. There's also a mallard duck over there, chilling on that little mud bank there. So why don't we cut back up this way. There goes another dump truck. There might have been a flood here too recently, or this might be part of the restoration. I'm not sure. Again, give me some clarification in the comments if you know what's going on here. Pretty sure the park cuts up to the top of there and then follows that over there and then comes back down that way. There is a little infeeder here, and I think there is a little spring over there too. I remember going over there once several years ago and finding a little spring. Here's another platform. There's something over there. I see an arch, a stone arch. That's a nice shot there. All right, let's head back to the creek. Hitting some nice outcrops again here. Oh, wait, hold on. What's this? This might be a spring right here. See that? It's flowing right out into the creek. This is not the one I was talking about earlier. That's farther downstream here. We'll hit that in a minute. Let's get the temperature here. That should tell us if this is a spring or not. We'll set Mr. Ducky here down in the water for a couple minutes, and we'll get a reading. Hopefully that doesn't float away. We'll get a drink of water in the meantime. Let's check the temperature here. Oh yeah, we're way down at 52, 51, 52. So that's 10 degrees colder than the creek. So I think it's safe to say that that's probably a spring there. So it goes from right there, and there's some coming out here too. So that's quite a bit of water. It does look like there's a joint maybe right there. Stir up a little sediment to see the flow. See how it's pushing it right out there, pumping it right out. I do have a little 500 lumen flashlight here, so why don't we just have some fun and take a little peek inside this. Maybe we can see the conduit going off underground. Test, test, test. Can you hear me now? Get some water over here. That looks like fault breccia maybe. See those sharp angular pieces crushed? I don't know what that pink reddish stuff is. This might be calcite. Let's cut up here a little bit. Get through this mud bank here. Another platform here. Creek continues on down here. Nice big outcrop there. This looks like they dumped some boulders over there too. Maybe to keep that part from eroding. We made the whole loop around the park now. And we're coming down here, which is where that other spring or whatever it is right over here. Bunch of stuff going in here, and they put down that tarp netting mesh material, whatever that is. None of this was here last time I was here. They even have wood beams anchored in there. This kind of reminds me of what we saw up at Big Spring. They had something like this, but it was underwater. There it is right there, I can hear it. So on the side of the stream here is this big jumble of rocks. I can't tell if this is natural or if this is something that was put in here as fill, maybe when they created the park. There is a chunk of concrete here, but you should be able to hear it. The water's coming out along this width right here. Let's get the thermometer out and see what we got here. Let's just see what it says if we dip the tip in there. I'm not sure if this thermometer needs to be fully submerged. So this one is saying about 54. So that's pretty cold, but not quite as cold as the one up there. So let's try to do another reading a little bit farther in. See that right there? That looks like a little pool. We could stick it right in there. I can't quite reach in there far enough. There is a little spot that I can stick it right here. And that should be a little bit better than the last one. We'll see what it says. Alrighty, survey says 54. I don't know how accurate this is, but it seems to be within the range of what you would get with a spring. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that the water coming out here is not water just coming from the other side of the creek. Although I guess it's still possible. I mean, I'm not really sure how you would tell. You'd have to probably do a chemical analysis on this water. Now we're heading away from the main part of the park, which is here, but the land next to the creek is owned by the township. So I think we can go down here. And there's the main road right there where we started out, where we're looking at that stone wall. There's a little trail here. Let's head down to the creek. There's that netting stuff. It's got that, I don't know what that is. I'm assuming that's some type of natural material. It looks like they're just heading downstream with this restoration project. I guess they're gonna do more plantings, maybe some more of this netting and hay and stuff. You see a little cat right there. That's the main road that runs through Mount Joy right there. If you took a sample of the water coming out of the second spring there and had it analyzed, you could find out how much dissolved calcium carbonate is in the water, and that might help you get an idea of where it's coming from. I would think that if it has a relatively low amount, that might mean it's just getting pirated off from up there. I think most of Mount Joy is on limestone, and it does have a little relief going up there. If you've ever gone to Booby's Brewery up there, it's a restaurant and a brewery. I went there once, and the story they told was that the owner originally built the whole thing on top of a big sinkhole or a big shaft that occurred naturally in the rock. And then from there, he went down and he blasted out additional tunnels under there to store his brew and stuff. Now you can go down in there and eat. They have tables down there. It's pretty cool. If you've never been there, go check that out. So that's a wrap, guys. Hope you had a good time. I'll see you in the next one.